Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to get a few more user requested sounds out of the way and show off some of the sounds that have been requested. And I want to make a few shorter videos doing that and then kind of take a little concept and kind of explain it a little bit better. Rather than diving in and making like a 10-minute video explaining the entire sound and how it works, I would like to take that and work on one little concept and see what I can come up with, like a little tip video. So I'm going to try to switch it up. So one day I'll make a shorter video and then the next day I'll make a longer one where I go a little bit more in depth. So I have like a daily schedule, but I'll still have enough time to work on the bigger videos while also providing some handy tips that might inspire you to start a new project. So without further ado, let's get right into that. Alright, so the project that we have here is a track called Technoaid, which is made by Dekel. And somebody asked me to make the bass line, and in the comment they said to remake the square bass line in the song. But I listened to the song and there is no square bass line. So let's have a listen to the parts that I've taken away from here. There's a little bit of an ambience in there, but you can also hear the bass line very nicely. But I was requested to make the square bass line from that track. So what I was doing when first looking into this is I take a EQ8 and I have the spectrum here. And what you basically do is you look at the first and second harmonic and the distance between them. That's how I find out if it's a square wave based or a saw wave based. In this case, you can see it even in the waveform. Like if we zoom in here, you can definitely see that this has a little bit of a low pass saw wave feeling where it goes up and then kind of snaps down a little bit faster and then takes some time to go up and then snaps down. Because of the filtering though, it is kind of rolled off and smoothed out a little bit. But if we look at the harmonics, you can definitely see that it's a saw wave instead of a square wave. So let's take this for example. Let's take this piece here, duplicate it so you can look at it and then loop it. You can see the first harmonic sits right here at A0 and then the second one sits at A1. So that's an octave. And that indicates that it's a saw wave. If that's not the case, then it's more than that. It would be from here, the A0 to the E2. That will be a square wave because the square wave is every other harmonic. Therefore, you wouldn't see that second harmonic and you would see that distance being an octave and 5 semitones or 7 semitones. I don't know out of the top of my head. My math is not that great. But you know that it's not an octave. So you can, if it's not an octave, you can see that and you know it's a square wave, and otherwise if it's an octave, it's a saw wave. But with that in mind, I'll quickly show you the patch for those interested. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about is if you're trying to recreate a bass or whatever sound, looking at the first two harmonics and seeing how far a distance they are apart from each other, and you'll be able to tell if you should start with a saw wave or with a square wave. So I'll quickly go over the patch here. Let's open up Serum. As you can see, we have two waveforms here. We have a custom made one, which is where I messed with the harmonics a little bit in here. So it started off as a saw wave, as you can see, and I just kind of boosted some of the volumes and turned some other volumes down until I kind of get the feeling that I wanted. And then I added this icon has kick to it, which adds another bit of texture to it. As you can see, the volume is a little bit lower, and it's also adding to the stereo field as well, because we're detuning here. But there are no effects, and basically what we're doing here is creating a general filter. And we have this macro here doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's adding to the drive and the resonance, as well as being an auxiliary channel for the filter cutoff. So you can hear right here, we kind of have a click in there right at the start. Here and here as well. But we generally don't want the click here. As you can see here, there isn't any higher harmonics happening. So that's what that macro is doing. So if we look at the macro, you can see that it goes up here for these last two. So it's adding a click to these last two notes while leaving it out here and making sure that we have a cleaner signal there. So that's what the macro is doing, and that's basically it. The final thing we're doing is, because this is a very not very much a steep filter, and if we look at the spectrum, you can see it kind of filters off steeply here towards here. Obviously above here is that ambient sound that I talked about. So to emphasize that, we added another filter, and then of course we have the sidechain. So all in all, it's a very simple patch, but it was funny how he said it was a square wave when it in reality the patch was made with saw wave based waveforms. So that's what I wanted to talk about. If you enjoy these shorter videos, feel free to let me know, and I'll try to make more of them. But that's going to be it for today. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.